purport, no?
No problem.
Somebody can type because I'm not able to hear. So you can chat. In chat, you can reply. Have you read the purport and the verse?
No, Prabhuji.
Agnene Supataraye Asman Vishwani Devo Inani Vidvan Yudasmin Churanna Meno Vishtam Te Namuktim Videna. O my Lord, as powerful as fire, O omnipotent one, now I offer you all obeisances, falling on the ground at your feet. O my Lord, please lead me on the right path to reach you. And since you know all that I have done in the past, please free me from the reactions to my past sins so that there will be no hindrance to my progress. Mataji can read the part.
Can I read, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji, he cannot hear.
Bye. Can you hear me,
Yes,
Mataji?
yes, Mataji.
Okay. Purport: by surrendering to the Lord and praying for His causeless mercy, the devotees can progress on the path of complete self-realization. The Lord is addressed as fire because He can burn anything into ashes, including the sins of the surrendered soul. As described in the previous mantras, the real or ultimate aspect of the Absolute is His feature as a personality of Godhead, and His impersonal Brahmajyoti feature is a dazzling covering over His face. Fruitive activities or the Karam-kanda path of self-realization is the lowest stage in this endeavor. As soon as such activities even slightly deviate from the regulative principles of the Vedas, they are transformed into vikarma or acts against the interest of the actor. Such vikarma is enacted by the illusioned living entity simply for sense gratification, and thus such activities become hindrance on the path of self-realization. Hare Krishna.
Read the complete purport.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I'll read, Prabhuji. Self-realization is possible in the human form of life, but not in other forms. There are 84 lakh species or forms of life, of which the human form qualified by Brahmanical culture presents the only chance to obtain knowledge of transcendence. Brahmanical culture includes truthfulness, sense control, forbearance, simplicity, full knowledge, and full faith in God. It is not that one simply becomes proud of his high parentage, just as being born the son of a big man affords one a chance to become a big man. So, being born the son of a Brahmana gives one a chance to become a Brahmana. But such a birthright is not everything, for one still has to attain the Brahmanical qualifications for himself. As soon as one becomes proud of his birth as a son of a Brahmana and neglects to acquire the qualifications of a real Brahmana, he at once becomes degraded and falls from the path of self-realization. Thus, his life's mission as a human being is defeated. Hare Krishna. Somebody can continue.
Hare Krishna Mataji. In the Bhagavad Gita 8.41-42, we are assured by the Lord that the yoga brashtas, our souls fallen from the path of self-realization, are given a chance to clarify themselves by taking birth either in the family of good brahmanas or in the family of rich merchants. Such birth afford higher chances of self-realization. If these chances are misused due to illusion, one lost the good opportunity of human life afforded by the Almighty Lord. The regulative principles are such that one who follows them in promoted from the platform of fruitive activity to the platform of transcendental knowledge. After many lifetimes of cultivating transcendental knowledge, one becomes perfect when he surrender unto the Lord. This is the general procedure. But one who surrender at very beginning are recommended in this mantra at once surpass all preliminary stages simply by adopting the devotional attitude. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 18.66, the Lord at once takes charge in such a surrendered souls and free him from all the reactions to his sinful acts. There are many sinful reactions involved in Karma Kanda activity, whereas in Gnana Kanda, the path of philosophical development, the number of such sinful activities is smaller. But in devotional service to the Lord, the path of bhakti, there is perfectly no chance of incurring sinful reactions. One who is a devotee of the Lord attains all the good qualifications of the Lord Himself. What to speak of those of Brahmanas? A devotee automatically attains the qualification of an expert Brahmana authorized to perform sacrifices, even though the devotee may not have taken his birth in a Brahmana family. Such is the omnipotence of the Lord. He can make a man born in a Brahmana family as degraded as a lower born dog eater, and he can also make a low born dog eater superior to the qualified Brahmana simply on the strength of devotional service. Hare Krishna Mata, someone continue.
Hare Krishna. Since the omnipotent Lord is situated within the heart of everyone, he can give direction to his sincere devotees, by which they can attain the right path. Since the directions are especially offered to the devotee, even if he desires something else. As far as others are concerned, God gives sanction to the door only at the risk of door. But in the case of devotee, the Lord directs him in such a way that he never act wrongly. The Srimad Bhagavatam 11.5.42 says, Swapada Mulam Bhajataha Priyasya Tyaktanya Bhavasya Harihi Pareshah Vikarma Yak Kotapati Patitam Kathanchit Dhunoti Sarvam Hruda Sannivishta. The Lord is so kind to the devotee who is fully surrendered to his lotus feet that even though the devotee sometimes fall into the entanglement of vikarma, act against the Vedic directions, the Lord at once rectifies such mistakes from within his heart. This is because the devotee are very dear to the Lord. Hare Krishna. Someone can continue.
Hare Krishna. The Lord is so kind. In this mantra of Sri Isopanisad, the devotee prays to the Lord to rectify him from within his heart. The error is human. A conditioned soul is very often apt to commit mistakes, and the only remedial measure is to take against such unintentional sins is to give oneself up to the lotus feet of the Lord so that he may guide one to avoid such pitfalls. The Lord takes charge of fully surrendered souls. Thus, all problems are solved simply by surrendering oneself onto the Lord and acting in terms of His directions. Such directions are given to the sincere devotee in two ways. One is by the way of saints, scriptures, and spiritual master, and the other is by the way of Lord Himself, who resides within the heart of everyone. Thus, the devotee, fully enlightened with Vedic knowledge, is protected in all respects. Vedic knowledge is transcendental and cannot be understood by mundane educational procedures. One can understand the Vedic mantras only by the grace of the Lord and the spiritual master. Yasya deva para bhaktir yatha deve tatha guru. If one takes shelter of a bona fide spiritual master, it is to be understood that he has obtained the grace of the Lord. The Lord appears as the spiritual master for the devotee. Thus, the spiritual master, the Vedic injunctions, and the Lord Himself from within all guide the devotee in full strength. In this way, there is no chance for a devotee to fall again into the mire of material illusion. The devotee, thus protected all around, is sure to reach the ultimate destination of perfection. The entire process is hinted at in this mantra, and Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.17 to 20 explains it further. Hare Krishna. Can someone continue, please?
I'll read Mataji. Hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord is itself an act of piety. The Lord wants everyone to hear and chant His glories because He is the well-wisher of all living entities. By hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord, one becomes cleansed of all undesirable things, and then one's devotion becomes fixed upon the Lord. At this stage, the devotee acquires the Brahminical qualifications, and the effects of the lower modes of nature, passion and ignorance, completely vanish. The devotee becomes fully enlightened by virtue of his devotional service, and thus he comes to know the path of the Lord and the way to attain him. As all doubts diminish, he becomes a pure devotee. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purpose to Sri Isopanisad, the knowledge that brings one nearer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Okay. So there was some. I was taking some more batches, so I forgot that this one verse is remaining with your batch. So I seek sincere apology from all of you. So I seek blessings. So I will do. Here, seek is seeking Krishna's mercy in our life, and we should see that it is by His mercy we can cross the material world. Also, Krishna tells, Machitta Sarvadurgani Mat Prasada Tarish. 18.58. This verse is there. I'll just show you. It's telling to Arjuna that Machitta Sarvadurgani Mat Prasada Tarishas. Achachetam Ahankara Rashoshasi Vinishasi. If you become conscious, you will pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life by my grace. If, however, you do not work in such a consciousness, but act through false ego, not hearing me, you will be lost. So, this is Krishna's kind concern for his devotees, which he has expressed through Arjuna to all of us. So, why nobody wants to hear him? Why nobody wants to pay heed to Krishna's instructions? When we have selfish desire to enjoy, then we cannot follow his prescription. And that way, we lead an ignorant life. The ignorance will direct us to perform sins. And these sins will keep us bound in this material world. So that way, the obstacle is not submitting ourselves to the Lord or His instructions and living a life of independence. So that is going to lead us towards bondage. That's why the most important thing that we follow Supreme Lord, we follow His words, preserved in Shruti, Smriti, Puranas, and the words of Krishna coming in a bona fide disciple succession for our benefit. So that is the thing we have to do. So in this verse also, Tatshana Tatshadhana Manayo Jnana Vairagi Yuktya Question Atmani Chatmanam Bhaktya Shruti Mahitaya. So one who is seriously inquisitive student or sage, well equipped with knowledge and detachment, realizes that absolute truth. How he realizes the absolute truth? By rendering devotional service in terms of what he has heard from the Vedanta Shruti. So devotional service, when we say, it is a practice, a performance under a guidance. And that guidance should be bona fide. Otherwise, whatever my mind thinks, whatever I feel, whatever I do, that is not a devotional service. That is called as a mental concoction. So devotional service, we have to perform not whimsically, because our mind at this moment is not pure. So that mind will not lead us towards Krishna consciousness. But pure devotees' minds, their minds are pure. And that's why that mind will never give up devotional service. They're always 24/7 engaged in devotional service. With their mind, with their heart, and with their body. Krishna Maharaj, Savay Mana Krishna Padaravindo, Achan Se Vaikunta Gunananda. So their mind is Krishna conscious. And that's why the senses are following. The leader of all senses is mind. So senses will follow that Krishna consciousness. But at this moment, our mind is not Krishna conscious. So the senses will not act Krishna conscious. And the mind which is not Krishna conscious, it will perform sin. And the senses will perform sins. And that way one will get, caught in the cycle of birth and death. So that's why this ignorance is a cause of bondage. And if you want to come out of this ignorance, the easiest way is hearing. So we have to hear from right source. Shnata Sakata Krishna, Punya Shravana Pratyaya, Kirtana, Hridayastha Abhadrani Vidhamoti Swast. So by hearing from pure devotees, the glories of Krishna, what will it do? When we pay attention to Krishna's discussions, Krishna's pastimes, then the abhadras, the unwanted elements in our hearts, they will be destroyed or purified. So this process of hearing, how long we should do? So Bhagavatam recommends Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya. This Krishna conscious hearing should be continuously because the layer of ignorance is so thick that just giving a small time will not be sufficient. It will not penetrate our hearts. So there is a casual hearing and there is sincere hearing. Casual hearing, one is hearing for the sake of beauty, fear, or some prestige, fame. So that hearing is an official hearing. For the sake of hearing, one is hearing. But if that hearing is not touching our heart, the hearing process completes when we implement what we heard. So just hearing and leaving it is not hearing. Acknowledge in our action, in our words, in our thoughts. That is real hearing. Otherwise, if we are hearing, but that hearing is not touching our hearts, and that hearing is not reflecting in our words, in our actions, in our thoughts, then we are not heard. That hearing is just a namesake. But still, the Krishna conscious hearing will give some benefit. Even people unconsciously or casually they hear, that will still yield some benefit for the betterment. At least it will give chance for next life. But if we are serious and sincere, we should be very cautious while hearing. The hearing should go deep in our hearts. It should appeal us. It should mean us, and we should be able to, utilize it in our day-to-day life, in practical life. So that way, if somebody hears one sentence or one word, he will be enlightened. So there is a story of one of acharyas in Madhva Sampradaya. His name is Jaitirtha. So he was a prince boy. He was born in a very rich family. So earlier in his past life, he was a bull, which is to carry the all scriptural scriptures on his back, and it used to travel with Madhvacharya. So when Madhvacharya used to speak philosophy, the bull used to hear there, sitting. And sometimes Madhvacharya used to ask his disciples the questions what he is taught. So sometimes they were not able to give answers. So that time Madhvacharya used to say, you people are not hearing properly. Even this bull understands better than you. Like that he commented on that book. So this bull takes birth in his next life as a Jaitirtha. So he was very smart and he was very, born in rich family. So he had a horse. And there is a river in Pandharpur called as a Chandrabhaga. So he used to drive his horse from the bank of the river. And when he used to feel thirsty, he was not getting down from the horse. He used to tilt his mouth and he used to drink water when the horse is running through the water. And later on, in future, one of the Madhvacharya's disciples, he saw this boy is drinking water like this. So that time, this Vaishnava Acharya, he spoke only one sentence. Kim Pashva Purvadehe. Where your animal in previous life. This much only the Acharya spoke. And this line he heard, and immediately he got enlightened. He remembered his past life, that what he was. And then he took up devotional service very seriously, and he became Jaitirtha, a great scholar in Madhva Sampradaya. And he wrote many commentaries, So, can you imagine the glory of hearing? somebody hears unconsciously a right thing, it will have some effect. Then what to speak about those who hear consciously? So we should not take this example as a excuse to not hear nicely. But we have human life and we have brain, we have intelligence. We should analyze what we hear. We should see that what we hear, it makes appeal to us, and we apply what we hear. Otherwise, we go on hearing so many series of lectures we complete while hearing. We achieve a great results or adoration by hearing a lot. But that is not sufficient. If we hear and we implement in our life, then that process will be complete. So the one who hears and puts that in practice, then what happens? Evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yogata bhagavad tattva vijnanam mukta sangam se jayate. So when one hears and he implements what he hears in his life, then he will be enlightened. He will be prasanna. He will be happy. And such a person will be delivered from the cycle of birth. So that is the process. So are we happy spiritually? We have to ask this question. And if the answer is no, then the problem is that we are not paying oral reception to the scriptural injunctions. Sometimes we read many things and we pass also exams. We get good grades also. We come first in the class also. But our actions are totally opposite to our results, many times. So then, spiritual philosophy is not just an intellectual gymnasium, but it is it should transform our hearts. So the knowledge will enlighten us. It will stop us from committing sinful activities. That is a litmus test of knowledge. Person in ignorance, he can do some nonsense. But person who has spiritual knowledge, he will not do any prohibited things. If they do, they will lament, they will regret, they will pray to Lord to save them from this, clutches. So that's the. So we have to give importance to hear the Krishna's glories, Krishna's pastimes, his philosophy from pure devotees' mouths. Should absorb that in our hearts, and we should demonstrate it in our words, in our actions, in our thoughts. So this has to be completed. The process has to be completed. Otherwise, this will become a ritual. So when we don't put our hearts in the practice of devotional service, then that will act like a ritual. But when we put our heart, that will become spiritual. So that's why one has to absorb whatever we hear within our hearts, and we should contemplate. Like cow, she eats grass, and later on she remunerates again and again. So like that, when we hear something, or one line, or one paragraph, or whatever it is, we should remunerate. on that. And we should, it will, the cow eating grass, but she's producing milk. So like that, we may hear so many things. If we don't remunerate, then it will not fructify. For example, by our behavior, by our speech, by our thoughts. So that's why the success of hearing is, once anarthas, they get diminished. And there are many examples where people sincerely heard and they have changed, they got changed. Like Valmiki, he was hunter previously. He used to kill people, he was robber. But after hearing from Narad Muni, he became a great devotee. So same way Mrugari, he was a half killer. But when he paid, he heard sincerely, that got transformed his heart. And later on, he was not ready to kill even an ant. So that is a transformation. So we should see that we have come in Krishna consciousness now 1 year or 2 years or 3 years, whatever. So our life, our thought process has changed or not? That question we should introspect. And if the answer is no, that means the cause is that we have not absorbed the hearing within our hearts. Otherwise, the philosophy, the Krishna consciousness, the pastimes of Krishna, they are so potent that it can purify anybody's heart. There is no thing which Lord cannot purify. There is no thing which Krishna's pastimes cannot purify. So only thing is that we should be able to absorb these things. And when one absorbs these things, then that is the end of one's sinful life. The person's sinful tendencies are eradicated. Now, when one is in knowledge, person in knowledge will not commit any sins. So that is the path of self-realization. So that path begins from hearing. So what is the progress in the self-realization? And what are the fall downs? And what is the best path? That has been taught in this verse. So the progress is what? So this progress can happen when we have a human form and we live a Vaishnava culture, a Brahminical culture, a Vaishnava culture, where the priority is to sattva, the mode of goodness. And not only mode of goodness, but pure goodness, where we want to please Supreme Lord. So the preconditions for the progress in spiritual life is mentioned by Prabhupada is here, that one should have a human life. In human life, there is Athato Brahma Jigyasa. When that inquisitiveness comes, then one will purify his life by living a mode of goodness life. And how one will progress? The advancement in Krishna consciousness is directly proportional to the attitude of a person. So the one who is surrendered to Supreme Lord and one has a praying attitude, then progress is definitely achieved. So this progress is hindered by deviation, by mental speculation, by indifference to the philosophy or Vaishnava offenses. By that way, one gets carried away from the path of devotion. And if somebody is continuing his sinful life without getting scared of the teachings of scriptures or teachings of acharyas, one is living a sinful life, then that will become a hindrance. So the causes of fall down, so the cause is a pride. If somebody has a pride of Janma, Aishwarya, Shruti, Shridi, Etam Mada, Matapuma, if one is proud of these things, then he cannot progress in spiritual. Is again by getting birth in a rich family or a Vaishnava family. So if you want to save ourselves from fall down, so what we should do positively, that we should take care that we are surrendering to the Lord, we are acting as per the scriptural injunctions or the injunctions prescribed by his devotees or the acharyas, and we take shelter of Lord and his devotees, and we follow the scriptural injunctions. So this way, prohibitions and many prescriptions given in Shastras. So the king of all prohibitions and the king of all prescriptions mention that what is smartavyam satatam Vishnu smartavyam jata. So these are the two things. Smartavyam satatam Vishnu. So this is a prescription, primary prescription. The essence of all prescriptions is smartavyam satatam Vishnu. And vismartavyam jata. So essence of all prohibitions is never forget Krishna. When we do these two things, then we are rightly situated. So devotional service is a best path. Supatarai, the Supat, the best path. What is the best path? So devotional service is the best and superior to all other paths of self-realization. So till jnana, karma, one has his false ego intact. A jnani or yogi, they are proud of their abilities. Karmi also thinks that by performing such rituals, he can get whatever he desires. So till this path, all people are, think they are the doers. But path of Krishna consciousness, path of spirituality begins by giving up worship mentality. So what we do is we surrender to Supreme Lord. Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena seva upadekshante jnanam jnanina statadasya. So the path of spirituality begins by pranipat, by offering oneself to the process. And when we hear from the devotees who have realized it, who have practiced it, so from them when we hear, when we hear and we put it in our practice, then what begins? Ato shraddha tata sadhu sangha tata bhasmikriya anarthini vritti. Like that, the purification takes place, and positively we get attracted towards process of devotion up to the brain. So in devotional service, when we surrender to Krishna, then Krishna will take charge. Because in other yogas, people take their own charges of their life. They are so ritualistic or so austere that in summer season they'll put fire around it and they will sit in between. Or in winter season they will go cold ice water like Gangotri and they'll submerge themselves. Because they think that it's in my hand, it's my capacity that I can achieve perfection. But in Krishna consciousness, the devotee's mood is that I am totally dependent upon Krishna and I will try to do my best. I leave it to Krishna. Ashlishava padratam pinishtunam adarshima monatam yatha tatha vavadudhatulam tato matpranatasu sayeva. So like that devotee, he surrenders to Krishna. So when we practice spiritual life, when we are enlightened, because the ignorance is mitigated, we have a proper understanding, then we will not do further sins. So by taking holy name, our sins are destroyed. But we should not take advantage of the holy name and commit again more offenses, thinking that holy name can purify. That will become seventh offense. So the pure devotee, because of taking the Krishna consciousness to heart, and he means it, what he is listening. So he will put in his practice and he will refrain from committing sinful reactions. And such a devotee gets all good qualities. If somebody is not devotee of Krishna, he will not have any, although he will have superficial good qualities, but his intent and heart is not pure. So those good qualities will not, is materially unqualified. Whatever he has some defects, that all get, secondary, that all become secondary if he has devotion. So that quality is a noble quality. So Lord is saying the glories of devotional service.
Did we lose Prabhuji's connection?
Yes, Mataji. So,
Krishna Prabhuji, you're not audible. You're on mute.
So Lord is telling that devotional service is so potent that even a dog eater can become a qualified Brahman, a devotee of the Lord. So Bhagavatam also says, Kirat Humna Nrpulinga Pulkasha Abira Shambha Yavana Sadaya Ennecha Papa Eda Padashasha Siddhinti Tasme Prabhu Vishnuve Namo. So even somebody has a very horrible background, or somebody is a low born, somebody may be ugly, somebody may be unintelligent, whatever it is. But if he has taken shelter of Krishna, if he has taken shelter of spiritual master, then he will be purified. So that is the power of devotional service. So devotional service is powerful, and the pure devotees are powerful. But only thing that is not, that is not affecting us is our, distance, means which we create. We don't surrender, or we don't take that as a mercy of theirs. So the attitude of, I know, or so like that, when we are on ego level, when we are not humble, then this devotional service will not be absorbing in our hearts. And that's why a person will not progress very fast. Just spending time is not sufficient. But we have to spend time with heart in Krishna consciousness. They are not living for the pleasure of God, of Krishna, or pleasure of practicing for the pleasure of the Lord. Then how long we live, that's not the fact. But what quality life we live, that is important. That's why the devotional service has to be practiced as an urgency and with a right attitude. So if somebody is sincere, then what is going to happen with him? So that is mentioned here, that Krishna will help that devotee. If somebody is sincere, so that devotee will be purified. Because Lord is residing, Paramatma, within our hearts. He is watching us. The outside world watches us for some time. We ourselves also watch ourselves for some time, because when we go to sleep, then we are not aware of our own consciousness. But Krishna is watching us 24/7. So that Lord will purify if we are sincere. That Lord will purify our heart if we are sincere. And our consciousness, inner consciousness, will prohibit us for performing any wrong act. And even if, out of the vega, out of the force, if devotee gets carried away, he will reinstate himself again back to devotional process with a rectifying attitude. He will introspect, he will regret, and he will reform. So that is the devotion. And Krishna also tells in Gita, he tells Arjuna to declare, Shipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat shanti nigashati konteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashti. So Lord is telling Arjuna, declare, because if I declare I am a
राकेश प्रभू नेटवर्क गेला का?
नेटवर्क में भी प्रभु जी के
ओके
power of devotional service. So we should understand that this devotional service is supreme because it is directly connected to Supreme Personality. So Krishna tells in Gita also, Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vrajam Aham Tvam Sarva Papabhyo Mokshishami Nasuchi. So here Lord is declaring that if somebody surrenders to him, all his sinful reaction. So we don't stop here, that we just surrender and our sinful reactions are eradicated. So that is not the goal of surrender. Surrender is not limited only till there. Surrender should fructify into pure love towards Krishna. So till prem we have to go ahead. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has described in Madhya Leela, chapter 22, verse number 100, where the Sharanagati is described, the divisions of Sharanagati. So, sankalpa patikulyasya garjano rakshati iti vishvaso gotukte varanam tat atmanikshippa karpanye shadavidha Sharanagati. So Sharanagati has 6 divisions. So 6 steps. The first is Anukulyasya Sankalpa. So a devotee will always do whatever is favorable for his devotional service. That is his Sankalpa. That is his desire. That is his will. That he will like to do, and he will do whatever is favorable to Krishna consciousness. It may be austere, it may be difficult, but he will do the right thing. Interested to do a right thing, which is favorable for Krishna consciousness. So this is one surrender. And then Pratikulyasya Varjana. The more he is inclined to do right thing, same way he is very much averse to the wrong things. Pratikulyasya Varjana. He will give up the things which are not favorable for Krishna consciousness. Like association, which is Anukula association and which is Pratikula association. Okay. Then speech, words, actions. He will put in categories which is favorable, which are unfavorable. Like that, he will live a life by giving up sinful things. And he will live his life by practicing favorable things. So this will go on in his life. He will give up bad things. He will be attached to good things. And what is the third thing? Rakshati iti vishwas. So he will have firm faith that Lord will protect him. There is no doubt about Krishna's protection in his heart. And it doesn't stop there only. Rakshati Vishwas. It doesn't stop only in faith. But what happens next? Groptute Varanam Tata. He accepts Lord as one's master. You know, see, only having faith that Krishna will protect me, Krishna is going to protect me, he is a protector, that is not sufficient. One has to accept him as one's master. And only accepting Krishna as a master is not sufficient. But one has to give his whole existence, he should offer it to Supreme Lord. Maro bhi, rakho bhi, zo ichha toha, tuvapade arpilu. So, Rakshati Shwasu, only faith that Lord will protect. And when time comes, he is going to demigods or he is going to some other processes. Then that is not called as a firm faith. That is faith that Krishna will protect me. But when something things happen in his life, then he will search for some other remedies. So that is not, complete, Bhaktivedanta Varana. And accepting Krishna only my master, and not other demigods or other, politicians or others. My only shelter is Krishna. And knowing that Krishna is only my shelter, if we don't surrender, then also it will not be complete. Then, Atmanikshara, one should surrender. And this surrender should not be out of fear, out of duty, out of some benefits, But this surrender should be, very with humility, with all, from the heart, one should surrender. Karpanni, that we completely give ourselves to Krishna. So these are the 6 different Sharnagatis are mentioned. So like that, when we progress by doing the things which are favorable, by rejecting the things which are not favorable, having firm faith, Krishna will protect me, and one should accept him as a master, and one should put completely surrender to him with a mood of humility. Then that person will not have any obstacles. And even the obstacles will come, he will cross over it. So that is requested here by devotee. That, oh my Lord, I surrender unto you. You please guide me, enlighten me on the path of devotional service, so that I can completely get freed from sinful things, and I will become your another devotee without any hindrance. So that is the conclusion of this verse. So fully surrendering to Krishna and acting responsibly in the scriptural injunctions, and that way one should surrender to Lord. So this is the sum and substance which I can think of this verse. Any questions you have? Please write in chat or people to hear. If you don't have any question, then we have completed Isopanisad now. So one devotee has asked this question, Amrita Mataji, to explain the analogy of cobra decorated with jewels. So qualities and a person is not due to the Lord. Is, not going to benefit. Like the way a cobra has a jewel. So when you try jewel, then the cobra will bite. And that bite will cause one death. So materialistic people, they may be very well behaved. Appear very sober. They may appear very gentlemen. But because they have no God consciousness, their this good behavior, their intellectual capacity will not yield any benefit for others. So, like scientists, they have great brain, but their inventions, which supposed to be, blessing for the human society, if that scientist is not, God conscious or something like that, if he is not God conscious, then his inventions will be contaminating to the world. So like I have told earlier also, like, we have these facilities which modern scientists have created. But what people are using these modern gadgets or whatever, the advancement they achieve, if they are not using it for Krishna's service or becoming God conscious, then what? This advancement is going to cause disturbance in the society. So this, although appears very, but if their intentions are not Krishna conscious, then that is not going to benefit. Like a profession of doctor. What is a profession of doctor? Doctor is supposed to save patients. But if they have a mentality of earning money, or they are, they don't have good character, then their intelligence will, advance technologies to abort children, to kill people, or to steal their kidneys, or so many things they can do. The same way you can take any other person who are very advanced, but they are not devotees, they are not Krishna conscious. Then they will not able to benefit. Like socialist people, they are very innocent heart. They want to do good for others, but only want to do good for others. It's not sufficient. They should know what is good. So like that, we can take any form of knowledge. If that knowledge is not associated with God consciousness, then that knowledge will be society. That knowledge will speeden one's degradation, and that advancement is advancement towards path of hellish life. That's why qualities is not sufficient, but the person should have devotion, then that good qualities will have good impact on society. So that is the, for that reason, this analysis explained. Is this okay for you, or you want some other?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes.
Prabhu, from a question must be from NY. Prabhu, in that I was reading a devotee who even do some abominable actions, still he should be considered saintly. Something like that. I read it, Prabhu, but I couldn't understand how it can be. I may not be using that sentence.
Yeah. No. I'll tell. That should be applied to others. We should not take advantage of this sentence. That we do any sinful activity and we say that I am a devotee of the Lord. After all, we all should accept it. So we should not take advantage of this statement to perform a malicious devotions. So this verse, this principle is for others. When we see other people are falling down, others are leaving the path of devotional service, we should not commit offense towards them. That whatever time they spend Krishna consciousness, and now because of some past, past bad habits has driven them, got carried away from path of devotional service. So we should not look down to them. We should have a respectful attitude towards them. But we should not think that I can do anything, any abominable thing, and devotees should respect me. And they should consider me as a pure. This is a cheating proposal. This is not appreciable. This we should not take. This is a misuse of this Krishna's compassion. Like that, we should not take holy name. Holy name can eradicate all sinful reactions which we have not committed also. So that doesn't mean that we do some sin and we chant Hare Krishna. So like that, we should not practice devotions. So devotional service should be practiced as sincerely as possible, as a responsibility of individual, and he should act very gentleman way. But while doing that, if we fall down, if somebody else falls down, we should have a good outlook towards them. We may not associate with them, but we should respect them, because their association will not benefit us. If some devotee is just offending Vaishnavas, they are speaking ill about other devotees, so their association we should keep away from it. If they again breaking regularity principles, so we should, if we are capable to bring them back, then we should give helping hand. But if we are weak, is risky. But that time we should keep a distance and respect. So that way, devotee respects even non-devotees, because they see them as a part and parcel of Krishna. So everybody is a part and parcel of Krishna. We should give respect to everybody, but we should associate with only saintly people or only serious people, only people who are going to help us in our Krishna consciousness. That's the example I gave about the what is that, monkey and crocodile. You crocodile. Example. If you don't know, I can tell the example. This example. So there was crocodile and monkey. They were friends. So monkey used to give, the berries from the trees, and the crocodile used to give. So sometimes the monkey used to give many berries. So the crocodile used to take in home. So in used to eat that berries. So they felt very tasty. They liked it. And in his home, people thought, if this monkey is giving us such a sweet berries, and the monkey eats so many berries, so his heart must be sweet. So we won't eat his heart. So they requested this crocodile, that is this monkey, a good friend, you bring tomorrow to him home, we'll eat his heart. So the crocodile, he visits next day. Then the monkey, naturally gives him berries. The crocodile eats the berries. He tells him that sit on my back. Then the monkey sat on his back. And that day, crocodile was going inside the water. The monkey's legs got wet. His half body was in the water. So that time monkey asked this crocodile, hey, Are, what this today, the ride is different. You are, what happened? Where are you taking me? So the innocent crocodile, he told that, Are, my home people, they want to eat your heart. So that's why I'm taking you inside the water. Then the monkey says, Are, what a fool you are. You don't know that we are monkeys. We jump from one tree to another tree. So while jumping, our heart may pop out. That's why we keep our heart on the tree only. You should have told me earlier. If you had told me earlier, then I would have given my heart to you. So now take me back to the shore. I'll give you my heart. Then this crocodile, he takes him back on the bank of the river. Then monkey jumps on the tree and he says, what a fool I am, with whom I am associated. I tried to do so much good to you, but you bent to eat me up only. So I don't want such a friendship. So when we try to help others, we should try so much only that it should not put us on risk. We should not save others so that we are not able to chant, we are not able to read, we are not able to do devotional services, we are not able to take association of devotees. So this benevolence is not benevolence. It's rather it is going to create some catastrophe in our devotional service. So that way, we should try to respect others, those who are fallen, so much so that we don't associate with them. But we should stop by giving respect to them. Because if we don't have power to bring them back in Krishna consciousness, at least we should save ourselves, getting carried away from the Krishna consciousness. So offending them also will be offense, and associating with them also will put our devotional service at risk. So what is a major thing that we respect and we associate with the devotees who are serious, who are sincere. So in that way, we should respect others, and we should not take this verse as an excuse to perform sinful activities and think that I am saintly on the association of devotees. So that advantage is not a right move. So Lord Chaitanya also told that I am freeing you from all sins, but sin no more. So at the time of initiation, our sins are destroyed. But what is expected from us? That we stop sinning. We should not perform more sins. So that way, a devotee remains alert, one's own performance of devotional service, and he is respectful towards others. So that is a right understanding of this Abhijit Surviraj.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Anybody has any question? Otherwise, we'll stop. So I thank you all, Hyderabad Vaishnavas, for your kind mercy and tolerating me. So, because of you all, your sincere reception, I could speak someday, glorify Lord. And if I spoke something, you felt hurt, kindly forgive me. I have no intention to do like that. And bless me so that I can serve nicely to cosmos. Upanishad ends here. So you may all have exam and other courses. So I wish you all the best. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat
Thank you,
pranam. Thank
Prabhu.
you so
Hare
much.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Thank you,
Prabhu.
Prabhuji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Prabhu.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Vancha Kalpataruksha Kata Sindhu Pranam Pavan Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
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 Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Jai.